Launching her campaign for party leader, Liz Truss had two key messages: that she would cut taxes and that she wouldn't shy away from conservative positions, implying a contrast with some more moderate rivals.
I will campaign as a Conservative and I will govern as a Conservative. I can lead, I can make tough decisions and I can get things done. I am ready to be Prime Minister from day one.
Born to parents she's described as left-wing, the family settled in a middle-class part of Leeds in the north of England. Despite later criticising her schooling, she got into Oxford University, where she entered student politics as a libertarian Liberal Democrat, calling for policies such as the abolition of the monarchy. Her university friend Mark Littlewood says that despite holding some unconservative views back then, her core beliefs remain unchanged.
She's always been outspoken, she's always been a disruptor. You were never in any doubt back at university exactly where she stood on every issue and her opinions of lots of different people, and that hasn't really changed throughout her parliamentary career. Of course, back then, she was a member of the Liberal Democrats, but I don't think that's changed very much either. You really need to understand Elizabeth Truss as a kind of free market liberal.
Truss became an MP in 2010 under David Cameron and was made a minister 2 years later. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, she backed the government position that Britain should stay in the EU. But as soon as the vote to leave was announced, she became an enthusiastic convert. As Trade Secretary and then Foreign Secretary under Boris Johnson, she was able to prove her newly Eurosceptic credentials as she led negotiations with the EU, positioning herself as a new Iron Lady.
I think she, for many Conservative members, reminds them a bit of Mrs Thatcher. Whether she's actually like Mrs Thatcher or not is another matter, but she reminds them a bit of Mrs Thatcher. And I think her strengths include this flexibility, but others would see that very willingness to change, meaning it's hard to predict exactly where her policy will end up.
As Prime Minister, she faces a number of urgent issues, with spiralling energy bills adding to a cost of living crisis and many sectors striking for higher pay as inflation rises. Her proposed solution is tax cuts, which she says will boost the economy, but she hasn't spelled out how these will be paid for and what support she will offer to those who don't earn enough to pay tax. Whatever she does, she will have to move quickly, with less than 2.5 years remaining until Britain's next general election.